Welcome back to Celeb Fame Feed. Get ready to dive deep into one of Hollywood's most explosive sagas. We're talking about Rachel Zegler, the young star thrust into the eye of a cultural hurricane. Was her Snow White casting a dream come true? Was she really digging her own grave? Or a nightmare fueled by online fury? And what's really going on with her career right now? We're peeling back the layers of controversy, dissecting the downfall narrative, and revealing a provocative truth that might just surprise you.
Sit back, relax, and grab a popcorn because we're going deep in this one. The truth that might just surprise you. All right, let's kick things off with the moment that started it all, the casting. When Disney announced Rachel Zegler, a talented actress of Colombian and Polish descent, as their live-action Snow White, Hollywood thought it was making a progressive move. But the internet? It exploded. The backlash was immediate and brutal. Critics quickly pointed to the original fairy tale's description of Snow White's skin as white as snow, unleashing a torrent of online abuse and racist comments, some even resorting to the derogatory term snow brown. This wasn't just about looks. It was a clash over tradition, identity, and who gets to embody beloved characters in a rapidly changing world. Disney, caught in the crossfire, reportedly tried to smooth things over. They subtly shifted Snow White's backstory, suggesting her name now came from surviving a blizzard as a baby, rather than her complexion. It was a clear sign of the immense pressure they were under. This casting became a lightning rod in the ongoing culture wars, a battle between those pushing for more diversity and those clinging to traditional interpretations. While some celebrated Zegler's casting as a step towards inclusivity, allowing anyone to be a princess, others saw it as wokeness gone too far. But here's the kicker. For Disney, this wasn't just about social progress. It was also a calculated business move, a way to open up those Latin American markets. This whole situation has been called a car crash in slow motion, where corporate ambition to appeal to everyone slams head-on into a bitter and divided social media landscape. It shows that even when big studios try to embrace diversity, they can become targets in a deeply polarized society, turning a strategic move into a PR nightmare. The woke tirade, Zegler's unfiltered comments, and the fan fury. But the casting was just the beginning. The real firestorm ignited when Rachel Zegler's own words came back to haunt her. Beyond her casting, Rachel Zegler's highly publicized comments about the original 1937 animated film became a primary catalyst for the escalating backlash. She explicitly called the classic extremely dated when it comes to the ideas of women being in roles of power and what a woman is fit for in the world. These remarks, initially made in 2022 and resurfacing in 2023, particularly inflamed Disney purists who cherished the original. Zegler further elaborated on her criticisms of the original's love story, describing the prince as a guy who literally stalks her and the dynamic as weird. She emphasized that the new version would take a different approach, removing the focus on the love story and instead portraying Snow White as dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be.
I mean, the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her.
Yeah.
Weird. It's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White. She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be.
This directly challenged the romantic core of the original, alienating many who valued its traditional fairy tale elements. These comments were widely interpreted as disrespectful and ungrateful to Disney and the source material. Critics questioned why she accepted the role if she held such a low opinion of the original. Some even labeled the new interpretation as pseudo-feminism, arguing that not every woman is a leader. Not every woman wants to be a leader. It is not anti-feminist to want to fall in love, to want to get married, to want to stay at home. This reveals a fundamental disagreement about modern feminist interpretations of classic narratives and what constitutes female empowerment. Adding fuel to the fire, Zegler candidly admitted in an Entertainment Weekly interview that she was scared of the original cartoon as a child and had only watched it once. This admission further fueled accusations of her lacking passion or genuine respect for the iconic role she was undertaking. Following the intense public reaction, Zegler made efforts to walk back her critical comments. Appearing on Good Morning America, she called the role the honor of a lifetime and emphasized her status as a huge Disney fan, reframing the remake as a bridge between a classic and a modern age. This shift in rhetoric suggests a reactive public relations strategy, likely influenced by Disney, aimed at mitigating the damage caused by her earlier, more candid remarks. The situation highlights a significant challenge for public figures in the highly scrutinized world of celebrity, particularly when tied to a major brand like Disney. An actor's authentic, unfiltered opinions can quickly become a liability. Zegler's uncontacted comments, though perhaps genuine, clashed severely with the carefully curated brand image and audience expectations for an iconic character. This creates a tension where genuine expression is often punished, forcing public figures into PR-managed retractions. This can lead to a perception of inauthenticity or, as some critics claimed, arrogance, further complicating their public image. The intense backlash against Zegler's comments about the original film being dated and the new version being PC reveals a powerful nostalgia trap for studios remaking beloved classics. These films are often marketed on nostalgia, aiming to evoke the feelings audiences had when they first encountered the originals. Therefore, for a lead actor to speak negatively of the source material is perceived as puzzling and disrespectful. This fuels a predictable cycle of woke backlash, where the actor becomes the direct target of broader cultural anxieties about changing values and the perceived erosion of tradition. This occurs regardless of whether similar creative changes in other remakes go unnoticed, demonstrating a specific sensitivity when it comes to Disney's cherished intellectual property. Beyond the screen, political stances and public scrutiny. But the controversy didn't stop at the movie. Rachel Zegler's political voice added another layer to the fire. The controversy surrounding Rachel Zegler extended far beyond her casting and comments on the film itself, encompassing her political views. Her post on X, formerly Twitter, where she thanked fans for the trailer response and then added, "And always remember, Free Palestine," generated substantial backlash. This placed her directly into a highly sensitive and globally divisive geopolitical conflict, drawing criticism from groups who disagreed with her stance. Additionally, her previous expressions of frustration with Donald Trump's election and his supporters, which she later deleted and apologized for, further cemented her image as a politically outspoken figure, alienating segments of the audience. Disney reportedly attempted to manage Zegler's public political commentary. Mark Platt, a Snow White producer, reportedly flew to New York to speak directly with Zegler after the Palestine post. There are even claims that Disney executives directly contacted her and her management to tone down her social media posts, leading to the hiring of a social media guru to curate her social media presence leading up to the film's release. These interventions underscored the corporate concern over celebrity political alignments impacting brand image and film reception. A perceived hypocrisy in Disney's approach emerged when contrasting Zegler's situation with that of her co-star, Gal Gadot, who plays the evil queen. Gadot, a former member of the Israeli Defense Forces, openly supports Israel, yet reportedly faced no similar interventions from Disney. This perceived double standard fueled accusations that Disney was attempting to control Zegler's public image to make her acceptable to the public, rather than defending her freedom of speech. This situation reportedly led to rumored tensions and separate press appearances between the two stars, highlighting internal friction. The differing corporate responses to Zegler and Gadot highlight an unequal burden placed on celebrities engaging in activism. This suggests that corporate tolerance for political expression is not uniform, but rather contingent on the perceived commercial risk, the specific political stance, and potentially the identity of the celebrity. Certain political views, particularly those deemed more controversial by a broad audience or those that challenge the status quo, are met with greater corporate control and public backlash. This is especially true for young female actresses from underrepresented backgrounds who often find themselves becoming targets for backlash. The digital age has created an unprecedented level of real-time public scrutiny and accountability for celebrities, transforming social media into a volatile arena where toxicity continues to fester and rise due to a lack of public protection. This porous boundary between public and private life, coupled with a lack of robust industry-wide protection for talent, makes brands and individual celebrities highly vulnerable to ideological attacks. Every statement can be instantly amplified, dissected, and weaponized, forcing them into reactive damage control and potentially stifling genuine expression for fear of economic repercussions. This environment turns celebrity social media into a new form of political theater, where the lines between celebrity culture and fan culture have become blurred. The downfall narrative, a symptom of larger battles. So, was this the end for Rachel Zegler? Did the internet's wrath truly lead to her downfall? Rachel Zegler has been characterized as a lightning rod for controversy, not solely due to her actions, but because Snow White landed at the intersection of Hollywood's creative stagnation, racial politics, international conflict, and America's deep ideological divide. This perspective shifts the focus from individual fault to systemic issues, suggesting she became a convenient target for pre-existing societal tensions. The intense pile-on Zegler experienced is not an isolated incident. It is likened to the treatment of other young female actresses who have faced similar online harassment, such as Millie Bobby Brown of Stranger Things and Brie Larson of Captain Marvel. This highlights a discernible pattern of disproportionate online attacks against young women in the public eye, often fueled by underlying misogyny and racism. Critics and analysts argue that much of the backlash stems from prejudice against her as a
Young Latina woman with political opinions that don't align with certain groups. The racist backlash against her Colombian heritage and the disgusting idea that she wasn't fair enough for the role underscore the discriminatory undercurrents of the controversy. A critical examination of Disney's response reveals perceived shortcomings. While the studio reportedly intervened on her political posts, they did not bat an eye amid racist and misogynistic attacks. This contrasts sharply with Lucasfilm, also under the Disney umbrella, defending Kenobi actress Moses Ingram from racist backlash, with Ewan McGregor releasing a video supporting her. This suggests a corporate prioritization of brand image over talent welfare, inadvertently contributing to the toxicity that continues to fester and rise online. The controversy has had a tangible impact on the film's public reception, leading to review bombing on Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb, not for the judgment of the story, but for the external circumstances regarding the reputation of the lead actress. There is even an acknowledgement of the potential for hate-watching, where people might see the film just how bad it might be, which paradoxically still contributes to box office figures, albeit negatively. This illustrates how celebrity controversies can directly influence a film's perceived success and audience engagement even before its release. The Snow White controversy demonstrates the weaponization of fandom and nostalgia in the digital age. What appears as legitimate criticism of a film's creative direction or casting can often be a thinly veiled proxy for broader ideological battles, particularly around race, gender, and tradition. Review bombing and online pile-ons become tools to exert pressure and punish perceived deviations from established norms, effectively turning cultural products into battlegrounds for social and political grievances rather than platforms for artistic critique. The recurring pattern of intense, often disproportionate online backlash against young female celebrities, especially those from underrepresented backgrounds or those who express progressive views, suggests a systemic issue rather than isolated incidents. This downfall narrative is not merely a consequence of individual actions, but a symptom of a broader, deeply entrenched ecosystem of online toxicity, cultural polarization, and a Hollywood industry that often fails to adequately protect its talent from these forces, effectively normalizing such bullying. The controversial option was this a manufactured downfall? Now for the truly controversial take. What if Rachel Zegler's downfall wasn't just her own doing, but a narrative manufactured by forces far beyond her control?
Considering the multifaceted nature of the backlash, a provocative hypothesis emerges. Rachel Zegler's perceived downfall was not simply a natural consequence of her own missteps, but rather a deliberate or amplified outcome orchestrated by a confluence of external forces, making her a convenient scapegoat in a larger cultural and industry struggle. Several key factors support this argument. First, Hollywood's creative stagnation and its increasing reliance on live-action remakes, including Snow White, signals a broader lack of original ideas in the industry. Zegler, as the face of this particular remake, became a symbol onto which frustrations about uninspired reboots and creative fatigue were projected. The industry's reliance on familiar intellectual property makes these projects ripe targets for criticism, and the lead actor often bears the brunt of this discontent. Second, the controversy landed squarely at the intersection of America's profound ideological and political divides. Zegler's casting and her outspoken views became a proxy battleground for broader culture wars. Her identity as a young Latina woman and her progressive opinions made her an easy target for those seeking to express discontent with perceived woke agendas in mainstream media. The weaponization of social media played a crucial role. These platforms, described as the Wild West of public discourse, became the primary arena for this conflict. Algorithms and echo chambers amplified negative sentiment, turning a vocal minority into a perceived overwhelming consensus. This created an environment where toxicity continues to fester and rise, and public protection for individuals is severely lacking. Finally, Disney's own actions or inactions contributed to the narrative. While they reportedly intervened on Zegler's political posts, their perceived failure to robustly defend her against racist and misogynistic attacks allowed the narrative of her downfall to solidify.
Their public relations efforts were largely reactive rather than proactive, arguably prioritizing brand image and damage control over adequately protecting their young star. These missteps inadvertently contributed to the perception of her decline. From this perspective, Zegler was less the architect of her own demise and more a high-profile casualty in a pre-existing, deeply polarized cultural landscape. Her downfall was, in essence, a narrative constructed and amplified by external forces seeking a figurehead for their discontent. Despite the intensity of the online storm and the perceived downfall narrative, evidence suggests that Rachel Zegler's career trajectory remains robust. The available information indicates that the big roles keep coming for Zegler. This directly challenges the idea of a complete career collapse, suggesting resilience or that the industry itself views the controversy differently from segments of the public. This situation suggests that while online cancel culture can generate immense short-term public outrage and create a powerful narrative of downfall, its long-term impact on a celebrity's career, especially for those with significant talent and industry backing, may be limited. The downfall often becomes a performative spectacle for the digital sphere rather than a definitive end to a career, highlighting a disconnect between online outrage and real-world professional consequences. Furthermore, the Snow White controversy, like many others, has been widely discussed, leading to phenomena like hate-watching, where people might see the film just how bad it might be. This demonstrates that controversy, even negative, can still drive engagement and viewership. In the attention economy of digital media, controversy, even unregarded, becomes a valuable, almost strategic asset. The intense polarization around figures like Rachel Zegler, whether organic or amplified, generates engagement, clicks, and views, regardless of whether the sentiment is positive or negative. This implies that for media outlets and content creators, a downfall narrative, especially one steeped in cultural conflict, can be more profitable than a smooth, uncontroversial career, inadvertently incentivizing the perpetuation and amplification of such narratives. What's happening now? Rachel Zegler's current trajectory. So, with all this talk of downfall, what's Rachel Zegler actually up to? Is she really opening an OnlyFans account, as some rumors suggest? Let's set the record straight.
First, regarding those whispers about an OnlyFans account, no, Rachel Zegler has not opened an OnlyFans account. Reports indicate that this rumor is unfounded, so you won't be finding any exclusive content from her there. Instead, Rachel Zegler's career is in fact thriving. Far from a downfall, she continues to land significant roles and earn accolades. She's been busy. In 2023, she appeared as Anthea in the superhero film Shazam! Fury of the Gods, and took on the complex role of Lucy Gray Baird in The Hunger Games: The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, a performance that showcased her intrinsic charm and simmering indignation. For her work in The Hunger Games, she even won a People's Choice Award for Action Movie Star of the Year. Looking ahead, Rachel Zegler has a packed schedule. She voiced Princess Elian in the animated musical film Spellbound in 2024, and is, of course, the titular character in Snow White, set for release in 2025. Beyond film, she made her Broadway debut in 2024, playing Juliet in a musical adaptation of Romeo plus Juliet, a performance praised for its electrifying and Gen Z-coded energy. She even won Broadway.com Audience Awards for Favorite Leading Actress in a Play and Favorite Broadway Debut for this role. And if that wasn't enough, she's preparing for her West End debut in London during the summer of 2025, where she's set to play Eva Perón in a revival of Evita at the London Palladium. She's also slated to appear alongside Marissa Tomei in the upcoming comedy drama She Gets It From Me. So, despite the intense online scrutiny and the downfall narrative that has been pushed, Rachel Zegler is clearly still a highly sought-after talent in Hollywood, with a diverse range of projects across film and theater. The big roles keep coming for Zegler, directly challenging the idea of a career collapse. The future of celebrity and controversy. Rachel Zegler's experience with the Snow White controversy is a complex tapestry woven from her specific actions, Disney's corporate decisions, and the volatile threads of contemporary culture wars, racism, and misogyny. It was never a simple narrative of individual fault or complete downfall. This case reveals several critical aspects about the current state of celebrity culture. It underscores the shrinking space for unfiltered celebrity expression, where genuine opinions can quickly become liabilities. It highlights the immense power of online mobs and the limitations of corporate public relations in controlling narratives once they gain momentum in the wild west of social media. The controversy also brings into sharp focus the ongoing tension between preserving cherished traditions and embracing necessary diversity in media representation. Finally, it exemplifies the increasing politicization of pop culture, where entertainment figures become unwitting symbols in broader ideological battles. The Rachel Zegler saga serves as a potent reminder for audiences to consider their own role in these online dynamics and the true cost of celebrity in a hyper-connected, deeply divided world. Engaging with such narratives requires not just consumption, but critical thinking and empathy, recognizing the human impact behind the headlines and the complex forces at play. What do you think about Rachel Zegler's journey? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Celeb Fame Feed for more deep dives, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an update. Until next time, stay informed and stay fabulous.